There's a very bright board behind me. It's early, it's 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And as you can see, Great British Railways is coming soon. We're riding the 614 today from Waterloo to Shepperton as nationalised railways are here. Here's the story. British Railways, later trading under the name of British Rail, was established in 1948 following the Transport Act of 1947, which nationalised the big four private railway companies. During its time, it saw much modernisation such as electrification, but also saw the beaching cuts of the 1960s. Privatisation happened in stages starting in 1994 and was completed by 1997, with passenger services being franchised out to private train operating companies, or TOCs as you might otherwise know them. But 25 years later, in 2021, the creation of Great British Railways was announced. It will be a new public body to oversee infrastructure, fares and timetables, and while companies will still run services under a contract, it represents a shift back towards centralised control, closer in structure to a nationalised model. You got yourself a badge there.
Yep.
Nice.
Wonderful.
South Western Railway service from London Waterloo under public ownership. Safety information is displayed in all coaches. Please take a moment to read this information.
So there's quite a lot of people, press, entourage, etc. down there. I'm checking my times because the PA has clearly said, as I suspected, first train out of Waterloo, 6:14. Got to find my list now. Hang on. It's actually the 5:36 working to Surbiton this morning, and then there was a 5:57 Guildford to Surbiton as well. There's some blockade engineering happening in the Rains Park, Wimbledon area. But in terms of first train out of Waterloo, yes, it's this one, the 6:14.
Welcome aboard the South Western Railway service to Shepperton. The next station is Richmond.
Onboard PA still saying SWR, South Western Railway, no GBR mention on the PA announcement. Yeah, we're at North Sheen. I was hoping for some branding inside. They've given out some stickers and they've given out some badges. Good to see the old bars and arrows. By the way, I brought my old British Rail passenger timetable from 1991-92 with the bars and arrows on it, but that was actually all launched. That was always going to happen. Yeah, there was actually a press launch at Bournemouth on Thursday where I popped down and I caught up with Heidi Alexander to talk about the launch of Great British Railways.
Well, I walked into this depot here in Bournemouth and the shutters went up, and for the first time I've seen the Great British Railways logo on the side of a train, and of course very clearly says it's coming soon. But this weekend is a watershed moment, isn't it, in terms of the future of the railways, with South Western being the first train operating company coming into public ownership under the new legislation. We promised in the election to bring the railways into public ownership, and it's happening.
So we made it to Kingston. We got a 5-minute stand here, reversing here because of engineering, like I said, in the Wimbledon Rains Park area. So we'll flash back again to Thursday. One of the things I asked Heidi is, will changes be noticeable overnight to passengers, or will things take time?
It is going to take time because, you know, the setup of Great British Railways has to happen after we've got the legislation through Parliament, and that's going to bring together the management of the track and train, so the stuff that Network Rail is responsible for at the moment, alongside what the train operating companies do. But we're impatient for change, and so what I can't wait for is the performance not to improve before that point. And so that's why we're also saying today that you won't be allowed to use the badge of Great British Railways until such time as performance has improved.
When alighting from the train, please do mind the gap between the train and the platform. Once again, the next stop will be Hampton.
Yeah, next station Hampton, making our way down to Shepperton. Looking at some of the branding inside the train here, obviously everybody familiar with their local TOC, whether you're like GWR or SWR or Thameslink or whatever. And that was my next thought. My next question is, will those familiar brands and branding stay, or will everything eventually just say Great British Railways?
What we need to do is come up with a branding that also can speak to the regional identities as well. Now, I know you could ask me some complicated questions about things like cross-country services, and I don't have a full branding plan that's signed off for you, but I actually think having a nod to that sort of regional heritage of the railways is really important as well.
So, next question, I simply asked South West Railway first, who's next and what's the timetable for the rollout?
So the next operator to come into public ownership will be C2C in July, and then it'll be Greater Anglia in October, and we will be making an announcement about the next train operating companies to come in due course. We are basically working on a rhythm now of every 3 months a new train operating company is going to come into public ownership. Alongside that, we've got to get the Railways Bill through Parliament and get the legislation passed so that we can legally set up Great British Railways, and that will bring together the full management of track and train. In advance of that, though, we are appointing some alliance directors as well, and Lawrence is fulfilling that role in South Western, and that will come on stream. He'll start on Sunday in terms of running the trains, but then come the autumn, later in the summer, he will have those alliance responsibilities around the infrastructure as well as the operational side of things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See ya.
Take care.
Cheers, mate. So we made it to Shepperton. There's only about 5 of us in the end. All the enthusiasts were having a nice chat on the platform. It was excellent. Nice to meet everyone as we wanted to be on that first public train. Just realised I was here a few months ago because this is the new contactless extension. So I will, on the way back to Waterloo, just use my bank card to tap in and pay for contactless. The one thing, the final question that I asked Heidi down in Bournemouth on Thursday was, yes, railways, public, nationalised, but what about you've still got some what we call open access operators? What happens to those?
So I think there's an important role in the future for open access operators. We've just extended the rights, for example, on Grand Central services up to Sunderland for the next 11 years. What I've actually got to do is think about the impact of open access operators on the overall running of the railways, because at the moment we subsidise the day-to-day running of the trains by about £2 billion. And so if the private sector is running services that take fare revenue away from the public sector operator, then I'm going to have challenges around making the railway financially sustainable, and I've got to be fair to taxpayers as much as I am making sure that we're improving the service for passengers. We've also got to make sure that open access operators have appropriate access to the network alongside freight operators. We want to grow the amount of freight on the railway as well as the public sector operator, because there is finite capacity on the tracks, and if I've got an open access train sat at a platform for 15 minutes blocking and stopping other publicly operated trains from stopping there, the passengers aren't going to thank me for that. And so we've got to look at all of these things in the round. I issued some guidance to the ORR in January about it all. So there is a role for open access operators, but we've just got to think about the overall impact upon the railway.
The 0818 South Western Railway service to London Waterloo.
It is with some amusement that the train back, the A18 that we're all getting, is a class 455. So we had the fancy Swiss Arterio 701 with the Great British sort of half Union flag logo on the side, but the red painted South Western railway unit here has got the old livery of the South Western trains, the previous franchise. That just raises questions in my head about if there is to be a new logo and a new livery, you know, these things don't get rolled out overnight, even within a year. It takes many years, or perhaps the length of a franchise. Still here. Red trains. So back at Waterloo, started here at 6:14 on platform 19. We've just come in on platform 18 over there. And on the way back, some of us were chatting and we realised that there were still some questions that I had unanswered. So will new branding now be rolled out when needed in small bursts, or will it say suddenly appear everywhere? And will we start seeing it outside stations, for example, alongside the bars and arrows symbol? I also wonder if there'll be a new unified website and app with all the train times, service updates and ticket purchasing in one place, because that would be excellent. And how long would such a process take place anyway? Will it happen in the next 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, or longer? We'll have to wait and see. And in summary, what that's got me thinking is, yeah, mark today in your diary as a historical date, May the 25th, 2025, the day that Great British Railways started. But just from that slogan on the side of the train, coming soon, makes me think there is more to come. And my suspicion, and this was the chat on the train back, like I said, is that there is more to come. And I suspect in the next few weeks or months, we'll see more rolled out, and there may yet be a full logo and maybe a Great British Railways livery. Who knows? But I just sense that there is more to come. But that's it from Waterloo. Press subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.